I'm Dan Lew. I'm the Chief Public Defender for Northeastern Minnesota. So my job is to lead a group of 33 lawyers and 12 professional staff to provide public defender services for Northeastern Minnesota. We represent men, women, and kids who are charged with crimes. Ranges from traffic offenses to obviously death and sex crimes.
So do you have your own caseload while you're also being kind of in charge of everyone?
Yeah, I carry a small caseload. I try to carry cases in some of our courthouses.
Can you just tell me a little bit about your experience working in mental health court and how you got there?
Well, mental health court was a creation of a partnership. Judge Sally Tarnowski, I want to say about 8 years ago, was interested in starting a mental health court. And she started it with folks that we all identified as struggling with mental health issues and not bringing services together. And what we often at disposition knew what needed to get done, knew all the places we were going to refer people to, had a huge laundry list, but then we recognized, we said, hey, good luck, do all these things, it's all going to happen magically. And I think part of many of us, including Judge Tarnowski, said, well, you know what, we're not just going to say goodbye. We're going to ask you to come back and see me in 30 days and see how it's going. And that's what created the partnership of probation, the defense, and providers all working together. So we started meeting some benchmarks and coming back within 30 days to see how things were going.
Mm-hmm. So were you the original public defender then on mental health court?
I was.
Now in your current job, how often are you working with defendants that are participants in mental health court?
You know, I don't work with as many participants who are actively in court. My role right now is I'm hearing from a lot of folks who are so symptomatic, they're not even ready for mental health court. They need more immediate stabilization.
Yeah.
And those are a lot of the contacts with folks that I have.
Okay.
Sitting in a jail, at a hospital, and want to leave the hospital, or in jail and really need to be in a hospital setting with very few options because folks aren't meeting admission criteria.
Okay.
And then also coordinating services for folks.
So what are your thoughts on how mental health court is ran compared to traditional court?
Oh, I think it really is some of the best things we're doing in the courthouse. Identifying folks, meeting their needs early, coordinating services, and that client-judge-provider engagement each week. It really has been the recipe for some success that we've had in addressing the needs of mentally ill clients.
How do most of the public defenders respond to having a case with a mentally ill person?
I think that used to be the rare instance. We have a mentally ill client. Now it is very common. Our lawyers have a tremendous amount of experience in working with mentally ill clients. We also are doing a better job of training clients, and training our lawyers to identify clients with mental health issues and refer them to our in-house social worker to be in coordinating services. But we've also taken that next step as well for how to train our lawyers. We have 6 staff that are trained in crisis intervention.
Oh, okay.
So not only identifying, but having the skills to de-escalate, to slow things down, and to recognize that these are symptoms of mental illness.
Earlier you said most people now are pretty good with working with a mentally ill person, but have you ever known of anyone or dealt with anyone that just was not good at it or didn't want to do it or just was kind of against it?
I think there's all kinds of providers, including our lawyers, who are not comfortable with folks who are mentally ill. And if you come into the office with that view, you'll change quickly because you'll recognize that that's such a common thread.
Yeah.
But there are folks who are uncomfortable working with symptomatic folks, recognizing that one day can be really good, next day can be a real struggle.
Yeah. So when you're not in mental health court but the defendant has mental illness, do you think the court is held differently or that people participating act differently when the defendant has mental illness?
Well, I think as a general criminal justice system, we're all becoming a lot more mental health focused,
Okay.
and recognizing that that's the symptom we need to begin treating. But there is a common theme in the courthouse of just have a mental health court because we don't want to make that part of our daily lives. And that probably was 8 years ago. Now it's starting to change, recognizing that mental health court has a more limited criteria of who we're taking. And the day-to-day participant who is not as, whose symptoms aren't as severe to have a seat in mental health court, still day in, day out struggle. And those are the folks who are the hardest. Because we know those are the folks who are medicating with street drugs to alleviate the symptoms and struggle. So you're always trying to figure out what are we treating first, the mental illness, the dependency, doing it both, and finding a holistic solution, recognizing it. You can't treat the mental illness or the chemical dependency if the person doesn't have a home, isn't receiving primary health care, and for that is hungry tonight.
Do you think your idea about mental illness has changed since you became a public defender?
Oh, tremendously. Even from the time I was an undergraduate, the world is not as simple as taking your best efforts and just being committed to hard work. None of that can happen if you're struggling with a disease, which is mental illness. Just your effort, your sheer will, and having the opportunity isn't enough to overcome what is a terrible disease.
So is there anything you wish you could let others know about mental illness? Maybe something you learned since you became a public defender?
It is the single core of who we are, how we function, how we see the world and ourselves. You impair that, you take that away from someone, it will cause great harm. Yet if you have the courage to recognize that folks can heal, folks can recover, folks can, with the right support, the right medicine, the right people in their lives, the right engagement, can live healthy, productive lives, you can survive and you can thrive.